Yeah, we're live. This is my favorite month coming up. It's May 13th. It's going to be Shark Tank month at New Jersey Real Estate Social Network. I'm here live with John Lamkin and Matt. Matt, you want to kick it off and tell us your favorite event?
Yeah, absolutely. It is the Shark Tank. It's one of the events that I look forward to every single year. The lenders finally get to sit down at the table and be the sharks every single year. It's really cool to watch these real estate investors present these deals. For me personally, I would say what I'm looking for in an investor when they're presenting a really good deal, I want to see, did they really, like, bring it back to school for a second? Did they do their homework, right? I get people that come to us every single day, they have the deal, but they haven't really done the work to really know if this is a good deal. And even more so, what happens when things start to go wrong? And you know, for myself, I know for myself, because I've seen some deals and I've looked at them, and a lot of the investors that come to me every day, I want to know, okay, this is great. You're showing me what it would look like if it really works. But what happens if something goes a little sideways? What if you have to pivot? And I'm really looking for, and it goes back to that thoughtful, I really want to see someone who's thoughtful, that has multiple strategies, exit strategies in the process.
I think that's a really good point. You know, early on in my investing, career, one thing that was drilled into me is having, multiple exit strategies. What if you have to flip it? What if you have to short it? What if you do all that work and you break even? Are you going to lose money or are you going to break even? What if the market shifts? What if interest rates change? All these different things. You're stress testing the deal. And that, I think, is really important.
John, what are you looking for?
No, I mean, I agree with what you guys said. They were right on. I mean, I really do look at the person leading the deal. How many deals have they done? How often do they do them? And then also, like what you guys said, do they have a strategy? Because we all know, because we've all bought and sold properties as investments, something's going to happen that they're not expecting. So how are their mentality, if they're going to be able to shift? Maybe they got to put up some more money. Maybe they got to call the architect and change a few things. Maybe they go back to the town and change some zoning. So, I mean, it's really, really important, in my opinion, that the experience is number one, and then obviously the financials behind them is going to be number two.
I was just going to say, intangibles that I look for in borrowers, I want to see problem solvers. You're constantly, you know this, right? You're in deals all the time. Things come up. It's inevitable that things are always going to come up in the project. Are you the guy who's going to just complain that something happened, or are you going to be the one who's going to look for a solution? You're going to be proactive rather than being reactive. Those are a lot of things that I look for when we get deals in. So really, really excited to see what some of the people that are going to be presenting in May, the deals that they're going to be bringing to the table.
Do you think that we're going to see right now with New Jersey market, because it's definitely still, the market is definitely shifting. I see like the Shark Tank has evolved over the years, where maybe pre-COVID we were seeing so many investors coming in with wholesale opportunities, deals locked up under contract, deals that really made a lot of sense, had a lot of meat on the bone. Or do you think we're going to see some light deals because it's an inventory issue, or maybe wholesalers trying to make a little bit too much money on it, or you have an unrealistic seller who wants a higher number? I think it's going to be really interesting to see where those deals are coming from. North, Central, South Jersey, West Jersey. It's hard to find a deal right now. It really is hard to find a deal with meat on the bone.
Creativity is going to be the word.
Yeah.
I'm going to look to see a lot of creativity in borrowers, because just going through the traditional, I'm going to buy it, fix it, renovate it, sell it, fix and flip model, that's not as easy, especially in a market like New Jersey. Inventory is obviously thin overall, and being able to do different things. Maybe you wholesale it. Maybe you're going to do some force appreciation. Yeah. Maybe you're going to convert something. You're going to take maybe a commercial property and turn it into some residential units. I'm really, really.
Who knows? Maybe you buy a two-family with a piece of land on it, and then you subdivide it, and now you can flip the piece of land, and now the house is pretty much owned free and clear. There's a lot of different opportunities, some really creative strategies out there. Just if you're a problem solver and if you can get creative.
I think that there's a lot of distressed properties out there that just haven't hit the market yet. I think foreclosures are going to start increasing, and there's going to be way more investment opportunities for people that have the capital to go out there and get them. I also think that most of the first-time home buyers out there have no idea of what the undertaking would be to buy a house and renovate it. So I think the investors are going to come in there and blow away some of these first-time home buyers, because most of these buyers that I'm talking to, they just want to move in.
Yeah.
Right?
They don't have any foresight.
They're in Hoboken, they're in Jersey City, they're living in an apartment, they want more space, but they have no idea of the nuances that it goes to renovate, construct, make it nice and pretty, deal with the townships. And, financing always is the number one thing, because there's not a lot of cash buyers out there, and they usually come to one of the three of us to help them with that.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know, John, if you do a lot of 203Ks or the home styles or stuff, and I always tell my clients that are getting outbid on really nice properties, maybe just lower your purchase price a little bit, go into a different bracket, and, and then force the appreciation. So, if you're looking at $700,000-$800,000 houses and you're getting outbid on every one of them, then maybe drop the price, go to a $500,000 or a $600,000 house and force that appreciation. I know it's not a lot of people don't have the stomach for it, but really, in my opinion, especially if the homeowner is going to live there, it's going to be a retail play. These people can actually compete with the investors, and that's what we've seen a lot over this, definitely since COVID. We've seen a lot of these retail buyers, and they're able to compete with the investors, where actually the investors are backing away, because they're like, I'm not going to pay for that. But a retail buyer, they can come in and pay for that, and they can get all the money on a finance. Yes, you have to have a stomach for it. You have to have some vision. You have to find a contractor. There's legwork involved, but you could be forcing the appreciation, creating a lot of equity that was out of thin air, and just that's a big competition for a lot of the investors out there right now, myself included. I know that I get beat out on a lot of deals because retail buyers will typically pay more.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to the seeing investors being creative. You can't have one strategy right now in this current market.
Yeah.
You have to be creative. You got to be able to leverage. I think partnerships is also a really big thing. Trying to just do a deal by yourself, sometimes bringing in other partners, collecting resources, you're able to do more. They always say that, together you can get a lot further than doing it by yourself.
Right.
And, I think a lot of that,
50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Yeah, and you're learning from other people's experiences, because we've all experienced different scenarios. Like you recently mentioned, buy a two-family, subdivide it. I actually accidentally stepped into something like that myself, and I subdivided the property. I had no idea what the process was. I had to go to the town. I had to get an attorney.
Yep,
it cost
land
me,
use attorney.
It cost me $10,000 to get it approved.
Right.
But then I was able to sell two separate units and make like an insane amount of profit. So when the person selling the property 4 years ago, they should have done that 4 years ago, but they didn't have the vision. So I think partnering up with people that are sometimes smarter than you is always a good thing to do, because you can learn from their experiences, and then you can bring your own personal experiences in there and be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, or it's the network that like this, like the New Jersey Real Estate Social Network, right? This is the network where they can come to deal night and they can pitch it to us, and we as the Sharks, we can kind of break it down and give them the strategy. And a lot of times the profit might be there on their lap.
And they don't
even realize that. They don't see it, And yes, it does cost some out-of-pocket or upfront costs, land use attorney. But if you're not even thinking outside the box, you have the professionals, you have the people that the Sharks that are here. We're going to help them, guide them through that process. So definitely May 13th is going to be an epic day. Hopefully we see some good deals.
Yeah, 100%. So May 13th, New Jersey Real Estate Social Network. Make sure you get your tickets. Sign up below.